Okay, hey, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Time for Sci-Fi Distill. Welcome back, Mary Beth, or should
Hello.
I say Mary Beth Rukowski, as they say in the show, in the movie.
Mary Beth Rukowski.
Everybody has their full name.
Is that what we're doing now? Okay.
No, we're not going to do that. I just thought it was odd. Everybody, they use their full name.
Use their full names, yeah.
So we're doing, in case you didn't know already, we're doing Demolition Man from 1993, I think, right? Yeah.
Yes, can you
This
believe
goes way back.
old?
They're almost 30 years old. Stallone, of course, and Sandra Bullock are our two stars.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I'm pretty sure we have news.
We have news.
So
we're
let's
gonna jump
hear the
into the
news.
news before we jump into
And
Demolition
hi, Chris.
Man.
Hi, Sue. How are you doing?
Oh, good. People are here
Hi,
already.
Jeff. Yep, we got 6 people already. Yep. Martin, how are you?
All right. Then I will get through the news so we can talk Demolition Man. 2 pieces of bad news. First, I will get them over with. Justin Roiland is off of Rick and Morty following domestic violence charges. Adult Swim announced it had severed all ties with the Rick and Morty co-creator. You remember that show had got this massive 70 episode order, and they had created halfway-ish of
I
that.
didn't think they were that far along.
They're only
putting out 12 episodes, like 6 episodes at every.
Yeah, but I think they might be cranking them out. I think they might be producing them, so I'm not sure. But anyway, Dan Harmon and the rest of the team will carry on. But the problem is Justin Roiland provided the voices for both Rick and Morty. So I don't know what's going to happen there. What do you guys think? Can you handle a Rick recast?
I guess it depends on how close they get the voices.
And does it have to be super close, or can it be like? No, it has to be.
No, it's got to be. It doesn't work,
right?
Yeah, no, it's got to be.
I don't know, man.
I think there's a lot of talented voice actors that probably could come pretty close.
Yes, that's true.
Because they did that. Like I know, like when Mel Blanc stopped doing, they put in. Somebody took over for?
Yes, and someone took over for Kearney too when Jim Henson died.
Yeah, so they were able to. You could tell it's not them,
but you can tell it's different.
You can tell it's different, but they did a pretty good job. So, I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll find out, won't we?
We will find out.
We know they're not going to let that die just because he's gone.
It was such a great show.
It is a great show, and it's been a bit of a cash cow for Adult Swim.
It's a bit of a cash cow, and it's a pretty smart show too. So
I think it's probably the biggest show that Adult Swim has ever had as far as mass popularity.
You may be right about that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Robot Chicken's pretty big, but I don't think it's widespread as Rick. Like a lot of people know Rick.
It just was quietly there for the longest time. Like it was always there.
True. I didn't pick it up till season 3. Like I didn't start watching it till the 3rd season.
Yeah, so. I don't know. All right, well, we'll see what happens with that. In other news, Alec Baldwin has been hit with involuntary manslaughter charges following the deadly shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of Rust. To quote his attorney, Luke Nikas, Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him the gun did not have live rounds. What do you think about that, Rizzo?
Well, I kind of, again, not knowing all the facts, and I'm not the prosecutor, and I wasn't the sheriff that investigated it and all that. So I say this from knowing only what I know from what the media had out. But I kind of tend to agree with Alec's statement that it's kind of hard. But to me, but they also, you have to mention, they also charged the armorer and several other people.
They did charge the armorer too. Yes,
not just laying it on him. To me, the armorer is the one that really should be the one that should be hung out, because she was the one that was her job. That was her job, is to be responsible for those weapons. But the other side of that coin is Baldwin was the executive producer, I believe. One tends that, he's kind of the head guy on the set. Was he aware that because they apparently were using these guns for target practice and their off time or whatever, and that's how the live round got in there.
That sounds sketchy to me.
Yeah, the whole thing is just, it's a mess. And for somebody, like, I've never worked on a real movie set, but I've worked in production and stuff. And, there's a lot of rules for safety.
Yes.
And I know anytime firearms are involved or any kind of explosive, there's safety, so yeah, there was a lot of negligence clearly on this film. There's no question about it. Whether you're going to hang this all on Alec Baldwin, I guess we'll find out. He'll have to be judged by,
Well, we'll see.
peers.
It'll come out in court. We'll see.
My guess is, and this again, I am not a lawyer. I know nothing about this, very little. But my guess is he probably, if he even gets convicted, he won't do jail time over this. It'll be fines and community service and whatnot.
We will see a lot more.
You could just tell from the shots they had of him right after it happened. You could tell he was just massively distraught. You know what I'm saying? As anybody would be, I think, in that situation.
Yes.
But yeah, I tend to agree with the fact that he would assume, because even if he had opened up the revolver to look, it would still look like a loaded gun because would have been blanks in there.
Yes, and I don't think the armorer or the director or the producers should trust that an actor would know how to.
I agree. I personally agree with that. Yeah. And for the most part, they don't use. It's important to note that this was a kind of, again, even you talk about the Swiss cheese and all the holes lining up for the mistake. This movie, normally they don't use real guns on movie sets, but because they needed this particular model, which isn't done in a prop gun, they were using real ones with blanks. So normally in any other movie set, this wouldn't even have happened because they wouldn't have had a real gun. It would have been a prop gun that only could fire blanks. So yeah, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but there's my opinion that you probably more than what you wanted.
Yeah, fair enough. You guys are welcome to weigh in, but yeah, this is another one that we're going to need a lot more information on it before we can make any decisions.
Absolutely. I really don't want to make too many judgments on any of it because I just don't know all the facts. I don't know the facts. Yeah. If I would, if I'm sitting in the jury, then I might have a different opinion. If they come out that he was aware that they were screwing around, he endorsed the fact they were screwing around, then that's another situation. Then yeah, maybe he is liable.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. So anyway,
all right, let's move on to some happier news. Let's get happy. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I was just talking about this the other day. That trailer has dropped from the official synopsis, and here's what kind of makes me go. The official synopsis is: a charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers undertake an epic heist to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. How generic is that? Like, isn't that like 6 other movies you can think of?
Well, that's basically every Dungeons and Dragons
That's every
scenario.
Like fantasy movie we've ever.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I'm gonna guess that this isn't gonna be Game of Thrones.
No, well, it says Dungeons and Dragons brings the rich world and playful spirit of the legendary role-playing game to the big screen in a hilarious.
Okay, so it's supposed to be comedic.
Okay, this is the one with Chris Pine, right? Yeah, I think it's got Chris Pine in it. We'll see. March 3. This drops March 3. The Mandalorian Season 3 trailer has already broken records. The show isn't even out yet, but the trailer broke records. It drew 80. Yeah, this is the way. It drew 83.5 million views in the first 24 hours, and that was last Monday when that thing dropped. Of course, it's gone up. So people are really, really excited.
Yeah,
I am really excited.
We want more Mando,
and Filoni, don't let us down. Don't let us down. Yeah. March 1st for that.
Speaking of Pedro Pascal.
I love him. And I'm loving him in Last of Us too.
That's what I was going to mention. If you haven't watched any of The Last of Us on HBO,
go check out Last of Us.
The 2 episodes that have dropped are excellent.
They are very good. It's a zombie show, just so you know.
It's a zombie show.
Go watch it.
Based on a video game. I've never played the video game. From people are talking that have, saying they've been very true to the game.
I've heard that too.
So that's a plus, but so far really good. Recommend it if you don't mind a little bit of violence and gore.
A little bit.
Scary.
It's not too bad, guys.
It's not too bad so far.
Not Olivia.
If you can handle Walking Dead, you can handle this.
Yes. Oh yeah. If you can watch any of it, yeah. And it's good to see what's her name from Fringe again. What's her name? Olivia.
And who? Oh, well, I won't. Spoiler alert. I forget her name. Liz recognized her right away.
I can't think of her real name. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
The little girl's from Game of Thrones.
And the little girl is from
driving me nuts. I think my wife looked it up, but I was like, I know her. Where was she in? What was she in?
Bella Ramsey. She's the one that remember she's the
little girl. Yeah,
the monster in the eye, and then it squished her. Oh, so good. All right, moving on. Netflix's Karate Kid spinoff Cobra Kai has gotten a 6th and final season. God. That's fun. The Shazam 2 trailer drops tomorrow. Woohoo! In 1 week, the Black Panther Wakanda Forever will be on Disney Plus, and that's where I'm going to watch it. So I will watch Wakanda Forever in 1 week. And finally tonight, the Oscar nods are in, and Everything Everywhere All at Once leads the pack with 11 Oscar noms. I always root for sci-fi and fantasy at the Oscars. In those noms include Ke Huy Quan and Jamie Lee Curtis as Best Supporting Actor and Actress, and Michelle Yeoh for Lead Actress. I'm rooting for Michelle. When I used to watch the Oscars,
she's doing so much.
She's doing everything.
She's like in everything.
She is now. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
She's
like right now.
Asian Pedro Pascal.
I love her. But there's lots of good sci-fi in the Oscars this year. The Batman's in there, the Wakanda's in there, Avatar's in there. But I remember I used to watch the Oscars, and like 4, maybe 5 movies would get.
Well, they did. It was always for effects.
Yeah.
It was always for
visual effects or makeup or costumes or
it was never costumes. It was never for the actual film.
But for the Best Picture nods, there are 9 Best Picture nods. They are All Quiet on the Western Front, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Avatar: The Way of Water. Did that deserve a nod?
I don't know. I didn't see it. I'm not interested. So
I am not either. The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick. Did that deserve a nod? Triangle of Sadness and Women Talking. So there's 10. Wait, let me count again. I'll find the rest of the Avatar: Way of Water. Banshees.
We were talking about this before the thing, and I'm like, I don't know of any industry or any job that has this many awards programs and this for people that are probably overpaid to begin with, and they're already.
To our viewers, do any of you have an awards evening at your job?
It's like is there an award for like a big thing, not like your boss gave you a certificate of your employee of the week. I got on the wall. I got a special parking space for a week.
You get like perfect attendance, and that's all you get.
Anyway, I've never been a big Academy Award person. I don't really care.
I enjoy
whatever.
I enjoy them, but I root for
fine. It's entertainment. It's just another form of entertainment, as the way I look at it. And if that's your thing, that's your thing.
It is, but I root for the sci-fi movies. All right, kids, that's the news for tonight. Rizzo, what are we drinking while we watch Demolition Man?
It's called illegal. Or just illegal.
So, it's illegal because alcohol
is mezcal in it. Mezcal, a little mezcal in it, and so rum and it's got quite a bit of stuff in there.
Is mezcal illegal? No, mezcal.
No, it's not illegal.
It's just hard to find. That's the cactus.
I think you're thinking of
I'm thinking of peyote. No,
the stuff that Van Gogh used to drink. I can't think of what I'm thinking of, but anyway.
Absinthe.
Absinthe, but real absinthe. They don't. You can get absinthe, but it's not the stuff that he used to drink.
It's not what they used to drink in Moulin Rouge.
No. So
that stuff it had opiates in it.
Anyway, so 1993, Demolition Man, Stallone at his height. I guess I don't say his height, but he's certainly in his. This is before he did Judge Dredd.
This is before Judge Dredd.
No, Judge Dredd was 96, right? So this is 93.
Okay.
Oddly, the scene that was added, by the way, in the beginning that has him going into the warehouse and exploding, and that takes place in 1996. And then we fast forward again. That's what he gets accused of basically a crime they didn't do, but of course,
a real building. They blew an actual building.
They did blow that building up. That was quite the explosion. This is again, I think, calls for what we call a popcorn movie. It's an action film. It's kind of funny. There's nothing. Don't dig too deep into it.
No, dig. Go ahead, dig a little.
Well, I mean, you can dig a little bit, but I mean, it's on the surface. It's just supposed to be a fun movie.
Oh, it's just to shoot 'em up. On the surface, it's just to shoot 'em up.
But they certainly got some things right. I think.
Yes, let's talk about what they got right.
Let's
talk about all their predictions, because there were many.
Well, go ahead. What do you? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I know you've got them written down.
Of course I do. Gullwing doors, but that's not a prediction. They already
Gullwing doors. They've had that. They had that in the '60s with the Mercedes. Had that. So
Arnold becoming a politician.
Well, that's true, and that's kind of funny. Arnold did become a politician, but he could never be president. But they did suck the 61st Amendment to the Constitution to allow.
They predicted short attention spans and sound bites, which was probably already happening by the 90s.
Yeah, that was probably already happening.
It predicted nostalgia-driven content. which is happening big time now.
Not to the extent that they showed it, though. We weren't.
No. There are no
1950s
ad
singles.
channels that I'm aware of.
You know, it was kind of funny watching Dan Cortez sing the Green Giant. I mean, there's interestingly enough, the scene where because you know they go, oh, we're going to take you to Taco Bell, which of course nobody would be like, why would you take me to Taco Bell? And she explains that Taco Bell is the only that survived the franchise wars. Like, I don't know, but whatever. And the thing is, it's interesting is on the European cut, they changed that to Pizza Hut.
Which to me makes zero difference because both Pizza Hut and Taco Bell are owned.
Apparently, the theory is that nobody in Europe knew what.
No one knew what Taco Bell was. But they're both owned by Yum Brand, so it didn't matter. Yum Brand got the win no matter what. So
the funny thing is, I watched it on Dennis's ConnectVision, and that's all of a sudden they're talking about pizza. I'm like, Pizza Hut, it's supposed to be Taco Bell. What are they talking about? Pizza.
You got the Euro version. That's interesting. I wonder what else that might have been changed.
Yeah, it's dubbed
there are the
in,
predictions because
it
was a bunch.
They changed the sign to Pizza Hut, but it was also all things to Taco Bell.
Moving
I
on.
thought that was hysterical. But that would be my nightmare if the only restaurant was Taco Bell.
Franchise wars.
And no alcohol.
Or
it was definitely sort of. It was very Orwellian.
Oh yeah,
it was a very controlled society.
Her name was Lenina Huxley. That's 19. That comes straight out of Brave New World. Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World, and his main characters, his girl character was Lenina.
Was it Lenina or just Nina?
Lenina.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, back to the predictions. Portable phones that can access the internet. We got that now. Voice activated search. We got that now. Tablets. We got
self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars. Pretentious food. Well, they had that back then.
Electric cars.
All the smoking ban, all the gun bans, all that stuff. That's happening. Language police, germophobic paranoia. I would
go broke with the violations to the.
I would too.
Verbal morality flaws.
GPS in cars, we got that now. Smart homes, got that now. Video calling or Zoom, we definitely got that now. We're doing it right now. Biometric implants and video teleconferencing or video conferencing, and the VR helmet, because we have like my Oculus or Meta Quest, whatever it's called. That's more of a face thing, but they had helmets. But the idea of a VR.
They got VR sex was already there.
VR sex was already there. So many things.
Yeah, I mean, they did. It was true. You know, well, I think I don't know how much it was really prediction as far as they could just. I mean, we were already heading in a lot of those directions. GPS.
We kind of already were. It's like they say Star Trek predicted some of that stuff too. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, and Bill Sotak, the shells in the bathroom. What were the shells in the bathroom, guys? What do you think? I think it was bidet controls, but what do I know?
He doesn't know how to use the shells.
I don't know how to use the shells.
Somebody had two of them. One of the things I was reading that two of them were supposed to be used as forceps so you could grab your waist.
No.
And the other one was to wipe away the debris.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's what I read online.
And then what happens? You throw them away?
I don't think the thing is, here's the thing. The guy that was coming up with that, he was trying to think of what would be in a modern, for that scene, what would be in a modern bathroom, in a futuristic bathroom. And he couldn't come up with anything new. So he called his friend who happened to be in the bathroom at the time. And he says, well, I got this jar of decorative shells sitting on the toilet. And the guy's like, I'll do something with that. That's how they got the shells. There was no thought into what the shells were actually supposed to do.
Tracy Lee Coco is in this movie. Tracy Lee answered me on Facebook. She says your theory is right. She called it she called it the pooper scooper. So if she knew the scuttlebutt around set, she was in that scene too. She was like one of the cops at headquarters. So she would have been hearing the chat around set. And so if Tracy Lee says that is so, then that is so. So I
don't think really as the audience, that was the whole joke, is that we were never going to find out how they worked. Yeah, I agree. That's what I think. Honestly, I think the first time I thought it was some kind of control for a bidet.
I was hoping they just flipped up and there were buttons underneath.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Why are there always seashells everywhere then? Every place had, but then again, it was kind of a very controlled environment. So anyway, the basic story, in case you guys haven't spoiler
zip
alert,
us through
is,
this.
so the basic story is John Spartan, who is a police officer in LAPD in the, well, it's 96, supposed to be take place, and of course LA seems a lot worse than it was even for 96. And then Wesley Snipes plays this guy called Simon Phoenix, who's a really, 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 really bad guy, and who's his nemesis. He goes in, tries to get him. It was a setup. Basically, he had some people hostages, but he already killed the hostages.
Yes.
The building blows up. They think that because Stallone's character went in there kind of guns blazing, that it was his fault that all the people died, but they were already dead. So anyway, he gets put in jail, but they don't put people in jail. They put him in cryo prison. They freeze in these big blocks, which Sylvester Stallone said that was the most terrifying 5 hours of his career.
Yes, the scene where he was
that scene,
frozen.
because remember, they put him in this plastic container and filled it with this liquid gel stuff. So I imagine he probably wasn't really. I think I'd be a little nervous.
There was also supposed to be a scene of his wife and daughter, like at the glass at the.
Well, they talk about it.
Yeah, but no, there was a scene they filmed him there.
He mentioned
you see the daughter. You actually still see her. She stands next to Dennis Leary. She was one of the scraps.
Oh,
and
really?
She stands next to Dennis Leary in one of those scenes toward the end.
Yeah, but they never in the movie. You never see his.
They
real
cut
daughter.
it all out. It's just him mentioning. He mentions them in a line.
He said. Well, he asks about his wife and daughter when he first gets thawed out, and then. But then later, when he's talking to Cocteau, he's saying, "No, I was conscious the whole time.
Oh yeah,
I could see my wife pounding on the glass, crying. My so that he was now. If that was true, if he was conscious for 30 years frozen, you would go in absolute insane. I'm sorry, you'd go insane. There's no way you'd come out any kind of normal.
Nope.
So,
which would go a long way to explain Wesley Snipes' character.
Oh, he got worse. So anyway, so they freeze them both, and then this Cocteau guy releases Simon Phoenix because he wants to get Edgar Friendly, who is kind of the
rebellious
guy who lives under the city, who doesn't want to follow his utopian, what he feels is utopian rules. So that's kind of the premise. So then, of course, they thought once Simon Phoenix gets out and starts murdering everybody,
murder, death, kill, and starts murder, death, killing.
They release Sylvester Stallone's character because
they've made such a utopian society that the cops they don't really need cops yet. They still have a bunch. The cops don't know how to actually deal.
They didn't know how to do anything. We're not trained for this. That was
we don't know.
That was Rob. What's his name there?
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider's line. We're cops. We're not trained for this.
Benjamin Bratt, which one of them? Yeah.
No. Benjamin Bratt was the one that kept singing all the stupid songs. And who was also in, oddly enough, on Law and Order.
Yeah, and Benjamin Bratt and Sandra Bullock also did Miss Congeniality, which was pretty cute too. Anyway, moving on. So this is that's
the basic plot, and then of course
that's the basic plot. The underlying themes are order and collectivism versus individualism, and safety and peace versus government overreach. So, and where's the mid ground? And that's kind of, if you start digging into it, that's actually what this movie is about, and it's actually really good.
Well, to say it's you have this control factor because this guy's saying you can't have alcohol, you can't have salt.
Yeah, they've gone like
you can't swear.
Yeah. Which is and then we get the Dennis Leary monologue, which was just Dennis Leary being Dennis Leary. Like it wasn't him acting.
Yeah, that was him.
I want butter and I want a bucket of cheese on my sirloin.
But he's right. I mean, that is kind of
right. It's your choice. It's up to you.
It's like it's a personal choice, and you shouldn't be controlled.
You like alcohol, fine.
Which has always been my argument with things against like seatbelt laws and things. It's like, yes, it's a smart thing to do, but the government shouldn't make me do it.
If the government was paying, now see, like here's the thing: if we had like Canada and we had a single payer, and the government had to pay to scrape me up off the road, then maybe they might have a right to
but see, the thing is, here's my argument against that, and I don't want to go down this road too far, but here's my argument, my counter argument to that. If we're going to say that, oh, well, my insurance or goes up or I have to pay because you killed yourself or because you weren't wearing a seatbelt, then we got to start charging people. Where do you stop? You eat French fries at McDonald's every day. You're fat.
You
smoke.
You have a higher
drink too much alcohol. I don't want to pay for that, so we're going to make that illegal too. That's what I'm saying. Where's the line?
And then you end up in a society like the society. But
exactly. So that's why I'm saying, if I get in a car accident, the only person, if I'm not wearing a seatbelt, that pays for that generally is me.
Yeah. The thing is, this movie, somebody I was reading about this movie on Reddit, and somebody's like, this movie did Idiocracy, but they did it better and smarter than Idiocracy. And they kind of did. Like, this is a society that's, although Idiocracy had all their what's the word? They had all their things that would kill them, like the fats and the salts and the things. But this was a society that was like so, like the way Sandra Bullock talked through this movie started.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that, the way, well said, they use their full names all the time. Everybody wasn't just Mary Beth; it was Mary Beth Rakowski.
Mary Beth Rakowski, yeah.
So they always kept saying that, and so there was this formal thing, but like it went to this almost childlike society where like the jingles, everything was kind of almost that 1950s.
It was just like, so
sitcom, family sitcom, but it was like, wasn't it though? It was like that 1950s family sitcom TV show.
It was like the Donna Reed show.
Clean.
Every day was the Donna Reed show. There was no
right, exactly.
It was like everything was wholesome. Everything was pure.
Exactly. It was like taken to that ridiculous level where.
And then there's Dennis Leary living down underneath, being like, well, you can be up there and have no freedom and no choice, or you can come down here and have a rat burger. It's up to you.
Yeah. There's a rat burger.
And like most of us at this point in the movie, most of us are like, yeah, you know what? We'd go down and have the rat burger because I can't live without butter, salt.
Right. You probably eat the burger. Smell good, tastes good. What the hell cares if you made it? It's made.
They weren't allowed to touch each other anymore because they bodily fluids was forbidden.
Bodily fluid exchange.
Like they had completely taken away everything that made life worth living.
Anything that we would consider little pleasurable.
Anything that we would consider pleasurable,
gone.
And she, in her job, like at the beginning, she's like itching in her job because there's literally nothing to do. She wants some action. And they're like, what do you want action
for? Even like the one when Benjamin Bratt went into her office and she has all the stuff of the 20th century. There's like, if you notice, there was like a Lethal Weapon poster on the wall.
Yeah, I saw Mel and Danny. And
she's like, well, there's so much contraband, and is there anything in here that's not illegal? She says, only you. So so she was definitely yearning for more excitement. She got probably more than she wanted, but I mean, they obviously didn't even carry firearms. They had these little stun sticks, which apparently they didn't even need because nothing ever happened.
Yeah, he tested on a civilian. Stallone just like whap, and the guy drops.
Well, even like the stuff, the Edgar has the thing go up and he spray paints on this robotic thing, spray paints graffiti on the sign, and then instantly the thing goes, it cleans it off like within 10 seconds. It's not even there. So kind of very, very sterile environment.
And so the moral of the story, kids, is you need a little tiny, I don't want to use the word sins, but you need these little pleasures.
I did love the scene when he finds the Oldsmobile.
Yeah, tucked away. What fired it up? It was in an elevator?
It was like a freight elevator. Yeah. And it just obviously had never, but it came up in an Oldsmobile dealership. So it was like under an Oldsmobile. If you notice when he blasted through the floor, it said Oldsmobile on the there was some cars parked. There was a Corvette there, but only I probably noticed that. But that 442, I was like when they're shooting it up, I was like, no, don't wreck this.
The cars that were the police cars were also used in Bicentennial Man to show the futuristic cars in Bicentennial Man. They were commissioned for the movie, and they cranked out whoever the production company. I should have researched this a little bit more. Whoever the production company was, the car production company cranked out a bunch of them, and they sent a bunch of them to the movie, and then they were using them in the movies and stuff. They were real cars.
They weren't probably electric though, at least, but not at that time.
I have no idea. If anybody knows,
I would say that was another prediction: was the electric car and the self-driving electric.
The electric car and self-driving, the Tesla.
So, well, Tesla's not the only one that has that.
No, Tesla's not the only one.
So,
Oh, Bill's driven one, 1970.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's talking about the 442. Yeah.
442, yeah. The car.
Sorry, well, I thought you were talking about
the car. Yeah, I'll take that over those stupid electric ones.
Yeah. Martin has knitted us a sweater because apparently he's implanted.
Yeah, that was a funny thing. That was a funny bit. So apparently during cryo prison, they can implant, they
harmless
in your brain,
harmless, peaceful,
which is one of the things now that Phoenix got all the stuff he needed to go after Edgar, meaning he had all the access codes, he knew how to drive cars, he knew everything about the current time, whereas poor John Spartan learned how to knit. He's like, all I wanted to do when I got out was knit something. So it's funny because he's sitting there and he's watching this video and he's got the yarn, he's wrapping it around.
He's wrapping the yarn.
So he knitted her a sweater overnight. That was crazy.
So one comment that I kept seeing, we'll talk about the cast a minute, but I just want to talk about Wesley Snipes' performance in this thing. I thought Wesley Snipes' performance in this thing was fantastic.
And did his own stunts.
Yeah. But the one
black belt and
I want to talk about that too. But the one comment I saw over and over and over again was people were like, he should have played the Joker. He should have played the Joker.
He could have played the Joker.
He could have made an excellent Joker. He has that slightly unhinged, funny. It's still funny, but he's unhinged. But he had all the martial arts skills. And apparently what was happening on set is they were filming the fights and they'd watch the playback, and Wesley can move so fast.
Yeah.
It was blurred. Like whatever the technology of the time, the cameras of the time, his movement was blurred. And they literally were like, hey man, can you slow it down so people can actually see what you're doing? Because it's just
well, actually they would shoot it and then they would reshoot it again with the stuntman.
Yeah.
For some reason. Now I don't know, if they just intermixed. Ironically, he also hated his blonde hair and he shaved his head as soon as the movie was over.
He did it. I thought he looked fine.
But then Dennis Rodman took that from him. He literally, Rodman did all his crazy stuff.
Also, if you notice, he's got one blue contact, one green, or one amber contact or something. And in some shots, I don't know what they were doing, but they switched. I don't think they switched. I think the film got flipped. The film got reversed.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? But if you guys watch, it's a continuity error. The blue eye gets changed.
Well, there's some other goof like in there. In the beginning scene when he's in the warehouse when Spartan goes after him, and he's got the gasolines everywhere. He poured gasoline everywhere, and he's got the torch in his hand, and he holds the torch down at the gasoline like 3 inches. That should have ignited the whole thing there because it's the fumes that burn for gasoline. So the whole place would have gone. Oh, I'm like, even I thought of that before I even read it. I'm like, yeah, why isn't that whole place gone up as soon as he got anywhere near that freaking gasoline? It would have gone boof. But anyway, suspension of disbelief.
Suspension of disbelief. Great performances all around. This is probably Sly at his best. This is sort of a brand new Sandra Bullock, so we didn't really know her. Benjamin was just there, whatever. He was just there. And this was Wesley Snipes at his best. And I'm sorry, Wesley.
It's certainly one of his better movies.
One of his better movies. I'm kind of sorry he went down the road he did. He probably could have been. He probably could have been pretty freaking amazing. So who do we have in this movie? We talked about Sly. We talked about Wesley. Sandra was Sandra. She just was her. This was like one of her not very first things, but one of the
she's early on in her career by far. I think she'd done some stuff prior to this, but yeah, it's early on. Then Nigel Hawthorne, of course, plays Dr. Cocteau, who gets thrown into the fire.
Oh yeah.
Which was fine. You think this guy was so smart because he programmed Phoenix so that he couldn't kill him.
But he didn't think the program.
But he didn't think far enough ahead to tell Phoenix that he couldn't tell somebody else to kill him.
Kill him too, yeah.
So he said, "Would you just kill him?" He's starting to piss me off.
Classic blunder.
Yeah.
Benjamin Bratt, Dennis Leary being Dennis Leary. Another actor who.
And this is one of the early Dennis Leary films. Like we saw him as a comedian.
Yeah, we saw him much more as a comedian. He's from Massachusetts. He's from around here. We know him now all the time because we had a huge fire and a bunch of firemen got killed, and he came and did a bunch of fundraisers and stuff like that for them. And he does the memorial every year for them.
Well, he's on that show.
It's really cool.
He's on the firefighter show.
Yeah, and he is on the firefighter show.
So that might have something to do with why he. But
I like Dennis, but he's another one that he never really took the on-screen career that far. Like I thought he.
Well, he's on. Like I said, he's on this Rescue Me's the show, and that ran from 2004 to 2011.
Was that over? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and so he's still, so he did a lot of stuff, on and off. Of course, he's done one of the funniest things was when he did the commercial with who was the athlete that was Bo.
Bo
he
knows
did
soccer
football and then baseball.
But yeah, Bo.
And I remember him doing the commercial. It's like for Nike. He's in the pool on the bike wearing the shoes like the guy's working. This guy.
Bo knows football. Bo knows baseball.
Yeah, Bo knows he's on the bike in the pool wearing the shoes.
I remember that. Who else we got? Oh, we got Glenn Shaddix plays Dr. Cocteau's little henchman there. We know Glenn. We saw him in Beetlejuice. A couple other things. He's around. You see him a lot.
He's probably best known for the Beetlejuice.
Probably best
known. He's pretty much the same character no matter what he does.
Rob Schneider. Jesse Ventura is just kind of it says Adam, but you barely blink and you miss him. Rob Schneider. He's
barely in it.
Dan Cortez. Jack Black hangs out with Dennis Leary, and he's another blink and you miss him, and you don't recognize him.
Again, these are all in '93. These people were virtually unknown.
Dan
Cortez was known, like he was kind of a thing for a while.
Yes, Dan Cortez.
You don't really know why. I don't know what Dan Cortez's talent is.
He was on MTV. Remember, you guys? He did like some kind of sports thing on MTV or some kind of.
I just remember the one episode of Seinfeld he was on.
Okay.
Remember George was like in love with him because he was so cool. Not in love literally, but he was in bro.
So while we're talking cast, let's do roads because we do have a few roads.
Okay, let's do
Tracy, as I mentioned, Tracy Lee Coco, because she commented when I put the picture up that we were doing it. She's like, I was in that movie and the seashells are this. And I was like, okay, now we know. So Tracy Lee Coco was a cop in headquarters. I'm going to have to go back and look for her. Bob Gunton, he played Chief George Earl. He's the chief guy. He played Captain Benjamin Maxwell in a Next Gen episode called Wounded. Mark Coulson, who played, so the Warden Smithers, you see a young Warden and an older Warden, which I don't know why they bothered to do that because it was only like 30 years. Like, I don't feel like it was that much of an aging, but maybe it was. Mark Coulson played the younger Warden Smithers, and he played in that Voyager episode, the Dream Alien, and the Voyager episode, Waking Moments. Do you remember that? It was the episode where the aliens were coming and bugging them in their sleep and like experimenting, and they were all like sleep deprived. And
so that was in Voyager.
Yeah, it was.
That was Next Gen, or Next Gen did almost the exact same episode then.
No, this one was Voyager. It's Voyager, Waking Moments. Adrienne Barbeau. She was the mainframe computer. She's uncredited, but she's the mainframe computer voice. She's the voice of the computer. She was on a Deep Space Nine episode. She played a character called Kretek, and the name of the episode is a long name, and I can't think of which episode this is. The name is Inter Arma Einem Silent Lege.
She was also the voice. She was also the voice of the computer in The Thing.
Was she really?
Yeah.
And then wasn't she the girlfriend in she was in something else or got cut from something else?
Well, she was in Escape from New York. You thinking Escape from New York?
Maybe Escape from New York. I don't know. She's around. Adrian's around. Moving on. Chris Duran, he was the museum guard the museum. He did stunts on Generations. Christopher Logan was extra, and he played an Elorian survivor on Generations. Minor costuming note, the costume belts on the cops that Sandra and Benjamin Bratt and I were running were the same as belts in the Enterprise Mirror Darkly. Typical Hollywood fashion, they use and reuse whenever possible. So yeah, there were a couple little, not roads, but pathways. Little meandering.
They were not highways. They were not highways.
They weren't highways.
So yeah, what are trying to think? Overall though, this movie again, if you just take out like to try to get into the deepness of whether they're trying to say something about society.
Yeah, don't, because Kent is watching out there somewhere. Hi, Kent, and he's tweaking hard on the liberalism on us talking about.
On that's the slope we keep talking about. That's the slope. That's where you end up at the bottom of the slope.
We didn't mean to trigger you this evening,
but it is. It's just a fun movie. I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theater. I want to say I definitely did.
I did not.
And it's, it's a fun, it's a good action movie. It keeps you going. It keeps moving. It's not too long, which is always my thing with a lot of movies. Of course, the end scene, how he gets Simon Phoenix in the end it kind of makes sense that they're back at the cryo prison.
Well,
Phoenix has gone back there to release all his buddies, and now that he's in control of everything, and of course, the liquid gets on the floor. You know it's coming. As soon as you see the thing explode and the freezing liquid go all over the place, you know where this is leading. I mean,
well, they foreshadowed in good movie fashion. They told us right at the very beginning what would happen at the end, which is the best.
What do you mean? They told
Wesley Snipes had a line about when my head comes off my body or something. Yeah.
Oh, he said something. If my head came off my body, I would lose it or something like. Yeah, I would. Yeah. And he said, "Yeah, true. I didn't even catch that, but you're right. There was a bit of well, there's the other line too, where when in the beginning when they're in the gasoline's everywhere, and he says, "Is it cold in here?" Because
that's right.
And then Sylvester Stallone repeats that back to him when they're in the cryo prison. He says, and then Snipes says, "Oh, good memory," like because I remember that I said that to you. And of course, he ends up dropping the little glowing ball of catalyst, I guess it is, that causes the liquid to freeze instantly. And I still again, I question whether Stallone would have been able to get out of the way.
I don't think he would have.
Right next to him. As Phoenix didn't have time to move, but yet the other
exactly. They both could have jumped up on
something to not get frozen. So
wow. We've triggered Kent. Kent, the Edgar Payne character, was going to be called Thomas Paine in direct reference to Thomas Paine. History buffs everywhere.
Kent on if he's so triggered.
Yeah, we probably should. So, guys out there, tell us if you had to deal with a futuristic cop, which one would you want? Demolition Man, RoboCop, or Judge Dredd? Who is the better futuristic cop? Start typing now. I'm going to go with Judge. No.
Well, Stallone. Well, no, because this Demolition Man is not. He's not a future cop. He's a 20th century cop.
He's a 20th century cop. True. Demolition Man had the sense to be like, you guys, it's not cool to hurt people. Well, I mean, sometimes it is, but not when they're hungry people trying to get food. Right, he had that line.
Yeah. Like, well, he saw because he was reasonable. And he realized that's when he had that change, when he realized that these people were just trying to get something to eat.
Yes. Yes, he wasn't completely.
He wasn't just a crazy guy that just liked to blow stuff up.
By
the way, the name of the movie actually did come from the song by the Police, Demolition of the same name.
Been released like 10 years prior. I think they just were.
They redid it for the movie, but it wasn't the Police singing it. But it is where they got the name from.
Now, see, Kent goes with Dredd. Jeff Rubel and Dennis Chevalier both said RoboCop.
I'm going to go with the Carl Urban Dredd. Can I go with the Carl Urban Dredd?
Carl Urban Dredd. Chris LaRoche says RoboCop. See, I feel like Dredd and Demolition Man both had that line of distinction of like, these are the bad guys, you hurt them.
Well, not the Stallone version of Judge Dredd. He was like, remember, because he's like, he had no black and white. There was everything was black and white.
We did that.
No gray area.
On the show, and I'm literally having trouble conjuring it up in my brain.
The law is the law until maybe the end. After the end of the movie, maybe he saw some reason.
Oh,
when he got Rob Schneider, he was like, "Come on, I was just trying to hide and save my life, and you're basically arresting me again." And he's like, "Doesn't matter. The law is the law."
Interesting. So that only lead, and then RoboCop was just RoboCop. I don't know that
RoboCop had some of the original Murphy in him, so he would kind of still peek through.
Sort of not.
So that's why I like the Carl Urban version.
Yeah, the Carl
because
Urban.
He kicks butt, but he realizes that he can't win every battle. Like he's like kind of more like he was like he's badass, but
and he was a little bit better about.
But he understood that he wasn't like invincible.
Yeah. I'm personally going with Demolition Man. Like, I feel like if I'm a civilian and there's a firefight going down, I have half a chance with Demolition Man. I might survive. I might not.
Well, he's going to blow everything up, so you better hope you're either next to him.
I probably
he spends a lot of time in this movie running away from explosions.
He does. He does. I probably should have thrown Kindergarten Cop into this mix too, just to keep things interesting.
Not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Not a tumor.
Or Super Troopers. I should have thrown them in. I would take the Super Troopers.
Super Troopers is just.
I would take Super Troopers any day. Oh wait, Bill wants Dirty Harry. Yeah, the 90s cops or the 90s I am the law trope.
Well, Dirty Harry is definitely a 20th, mid 20th century. Well, mid to late.
Dirty Harry
century cop. Yeah, the cop from THX 1138. They were robots, Dennis. They were complete robots. Yeah. Didn't you ever see that? Did you ever seen the Robert Duvall one? The one that the remake, which is
no, I have not.
You should now see that's kind of staple sci-fi watching. You should watch. It's not very long. Watch it. Or do we have to do this? I want to say Roy has done it.
Roy has done TH11, but he did the original. Yeah.
Well, the original was done by Lucas did that for college, and then he remade it, and then he remade it with Robert Duvall, which is the more mainstream version. So whether if you want to call it a remake, it is technically a remake, but nobody really sees the original. I don't know if the original one's even available anywhere. It might be.
Chris LaRose has just given me an earworm.
How about the cop from Terminator?
Now I have to sing it.
Terminator 2.
The cop from Terminator 2.
Well, I'm just saying, we're talking about badass cops, but of course, he was just a bad guy.
The cop from JJ.
The one that was the Terminator that was the liquid metal guy. I'm just being funny. Sorry.
Oh, Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It fell
that's just pure bad, though. He was just pure bad.
Yeah, I know. He was just bad, but he was kind of badass in the same way.
Oh, God. Chris LaRoche, I'm going to be singing Car 54.
Cop from J.J. Abrams' Trek. I don't know.
I don't know which cop.
Means, Martin. Car 54. Now, Chris, you're showing your age.
That's Fred Gwynn and Ernest Borgnine, Chris? Was it Ernest? Chris?
No, it wasn't Ernest Borgnine. Who was it? Was the guy that played Fred Grandpa on The Monsters?
No. Yeah, it was Al.
The guy that played the Grandpa on The Monster.
Al. What's his last name, kids?
I don't know. I have to
Fred
look it up.
Gwynn. It was Herman and Uncle.
I bet you Chris knows.
Yeah, Chris probably knows. Chris, why aren't you typing?
Because he's waiting for the stream to catch up.
When he hasn't heard us ask the question yet. With Roy, I kind of went down. Al Lewis, thank you. See, I knew Chris would know it. I knew it, and Kent knew it. The traffic cop in the car chase scene. Oh, Martin, you mean the one where he steals the car and he's going to drive it off the cliff? What are you talking about, Martin?
I don't know.
In JJ Trek, there's a traffic cop in a car chase scene. Is it the one where young Kirk steals the car and it's Greg Grumby, whatever his name is, his voice?
Oh, when he steals this. Yeah.
Dennis is for the Super Troopers. He wants us to
Super Troopers. I'm all for Super Troopers. Meow.
Right, meow. Yeah.
Do I look like a cat jumping around on
nimbly?
Nimbly. That's what
from tree to tree, from limb to limb.
Nimbly.
Am I drinking milk from a saucer? Jim Gaffigan.
It is one. In case you haven't figured it out, it's one of both of our favorite movies. So
we can quote it all night. Sorry, we won't.
On Super Troopers.
We'll try not to do this to you, but you can tell we're diverging.
We're diverging. Yeah, so I gotta go that route. I'm sorry, I gotta go with for me it's still even though these are all great suggestions, I'm still sticking with Carl.
You're sticking with Carl.
Stick with Carl.
All right.
Apparently nobody else agrees with me, but that's fine.
I'm sticking with Demolition Man.
I mean, Stallone is Stallone. There's no question about it. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
But I gotta say I like Carl's version of Dredd better than Stallone's by far. And I think Stallone just always comes across as too much of a cartoon character.
Well, yeah, I mean,
which is in this film is fine. That's what it's for. You know what I'm saying? He's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be this. He's always like this bigger than life kind of person. He's like unreal, and if he was doing all this stuff as a regular LAPD officer, he probably would have been suspended a long time ago.
That's true.
I'm thinking he wouldn't be doing all this stuff. So
that's true.
He really blew up buildings everywhere he went, but.
And this was all post Rocky, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was all early 80s and
That's
70s.
all 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Will says no digressing. No, that digression is Roy's.
Well, he does not own. No. Hello. Have you watched our show before? We're definitely into the tangent.
We digress. So, for any of you, if the phrase "murder, death, kill" sounds familiar, it is a band. They are a pretty big band. They are out there. They still crank their music out, as near as I can tell. And there is also a movie from 2014 called "Murder, Death, Kill." I have no idea what it's about. I have no idea if it's any way related to this movie. But for some reason, that little wording, that little phrase, just kind of that and the 3 seashells are what this thing is going to be known for. Murder, death, kill, and 3 seashells. Oh, very, very weird. Very, very weird little movie. So what do you guys think?
It was definitely as the strange, and even like, you know, the feel of the city with them wearing these like weird kind of almost Japanese kind of
robes. Like Cocteau looked like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, it was like this weird, like somewhere like a Bajoran. What was the ones the priests from Bajor?
Yeah,
they had those long with the big weird
stuff.
And Associate Bob was wearing like sandals, like flip flops with socks. I don't know if you caught that, like. You know, it was like a little China doll type, you know, like a geisha doll or something. He was like this weird thing, which is kind of funny because in the scene when they're in Taco Bell and Stallone sees the guy pull up on the dirt bike, right there, that didn't red flag anybody. Here we go. This guy looks like he came over from the wrong set, like he should have been on Road Warrior there.
Yeah.
He comes, you know, he comes over and like he's driving around. Like, first of all, there's not a gasoline engine anywhere in this city, let alone a dirt bike and a guy that's wearing like weird armor and stuff. So that didn't red flag anybody but Stallone.
Yeah, that did not.
Everybody else just ignored it except Stallone's like, oh, that's out of place. No shit.
So he's a good cop. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Pablo Ola from Mexico. Pablo is reminding me that Murder, Death, Kill is from Minority Report too. In Minority Report, they had the Murder, Death, Kill.
That's from the redundant department.
Yeah, the redundant department. Murder, Death, Kill. It wasn't there a cult? Like, didn't someone actually kill someone and like, oh, it was Murder, Death, Kill? There was like a cult or something.
I don't remember. I've seen the Minority Report, but I can't remember anything specific.
We haven't done that for a while. I'd love to do like a whole month of Tom Cruise. He's got a handful of good sci-fi. Or a handful of sci-fi. We'll decide whether or not it's good.
He has some interesting sci-fi.
Oblivion is interesting. Tomorrow
War is interesting. Tomorrow War.
Minority Report is interesting. I feel like we could, you guys want March to be Tom Cruise month or February to be Tom Cruise month?
Tom Cruise month. We can do Maverick though. Top Gun.
We'll do Maverick and Top Gun. Why not? We'll cap it off with a little Maverick. Because that was some sci-fi. Him taking that ultra, where the thing right in the very, very beginning that he did up in the atmosphere, that and surviving that crash. I
haven't seen Maverick yet.
Sci-fi right there.
I haven't seen Maverick yet.
Oh, go watch Maverick.
It's on now. It's on Paramount. I'll watch it.
Go either watch it.
It's like it keeps like, oh yeah, I gotta watch that. Oh yeah, I gotta watch that. So, yeah, Cruise he's an interesting character for sure. His real life is even weirder.
Martin says do it in February as it is a short month. Maybe we will.
It's still 4 episodes anywhere you slice it, unless we hit a 5-week month that aren't.
February is only here. Let me look at the calendar.
Yeah,
February I think is only gonna be.
Well, we need ideas. I have nothing again for next week, so this one I pulled out at the last minute. I'll try to be a little more.
Just done Dread and RoboCop and all those, and so maybe we should.
Oh, I just saw. I was looking through our list and I saw this one. I'm like, oh, that's a good movie. I enjoy that movie. It's a good movie.
Do you like Top Gun Maverick?
Everybody I've talked to liked it. Mary Beth, you're the only one that really kind of isn't thinking was that great.
It was very formulaic.
Yeah, maybe you weren't the audience.
It was fun.
Did you like the original?
Yes, I loved the original.
Everybody loved the original.
Everyone loved the original. When that thing came out, you were all like, "Oh dear God, I'm joining the Navy so I can do deck ops." Like you wanted to be the guy with
I can't think. There was a comedian back that did a funny bit about that. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Deck ops.
And he did a thing. He's like, all these people, and he's like, you join the Navy, and then you're sitting on the side of a ship scraping barnacles, and this guy's yelling at you. You don't look like Kelly McGillis, So Chris is saying sci-fi comedy. Well, what
we did Ice Pirates already.
We've done Ice Pirate. What kind of? Give us some suggestions.
Which ones? Give us some examples.
Yeah.
Or guilty pleasures.
We would like to do what you guys want.
Guilty pleasures, Chris. I would have been doing my guilty pleasure tonight because tonight is the 20th anniversary of Mothman Prophecies. That's my guilty pleasure. I love paranormal crap.
Yeah, we could have done that. Sorry. I mean, if you really, I hadn't seen it.
No biggie.
I had not seen it.
All right, kids. Let's Roy in.
Yeah. So what do we got? Yeah. What's Roy got coming up? He's always got something, that boy.
Roy has always got something. Roy, next Friday is his big chat with Patrick Reed Johnson. Nice. So both our show and Roy's show, we did 5/25/77, which is a fantastic flick. You should watch it.
If you haven't seen it, you really got to go. It's worth the rent if you have to rent it. But it's on Showtime. If you have Showtime.
It's on Showtime. 5/25/77.
Yeah.
Martin, you just watched it. I hope you liked it. So he will be talking to that filmmaker, Patrick Reed Johnson. And then the next Sunday, he's talking about Star Trek Long Island. They're going to do their own Star Trek thing. And then tomorrow, I will be on with Phil to talk 2 big musical interviews. One, the first one, we're going to talk to Dennis Dykin of the Smithereens. I have no idea about what, though. I don't know what Dennis Dykin is up to now. I got to ask Phil. And then we're going to talk to the Art of Time Ensemble about their new Leonard Cohen compilation, which is a tribute to the amazing Leonard Cohen, who was Canadian. And then this is a tribute by various Canadian artists. So I'm going to have to break out my A tomorrow so I can do that interview. And we don't know. Do we know? We don't know.
Don't know. We'll I'll have to come up with something.
I'm feeling no Battlefield Earth. No, Jeff.
No, I know. I saw that. I ignored it.
Oh yeah, Tom Cruise was in Legend. Yeah, if we do Tom Cruise month,
we might throw Legend in there. Yeah, Legend certainly has some merit strictly from a visual.
But if we're gonna do Legend, I would do like a Legend Labyrinth kind of both of those.
Compare and contrast. I'd have to watch Labyrinth. I've never seen Labyrinth.
Labyrinth is the one with David Bowie.
Yes, I know. I'm familiar with the film. I just never seen it. I know it has a big following.
Legend and Labyrinth were both this, and Crawl. Those all go in the same category in my mind. They're just 80s fantasy.
Crawl was bad. Really bad.
Pretty bad, but Labyrinth wasn't. Labyrinth was like a step up, and then Legend was just. See, Legend was Ridley Scott.
Crawl reminded me of those old movies that had what was the one like Battle Beyond the Stars kind of feel to it, that really cheesy.
Jeff, we did do Enemy Mine. We did that with Dayton Ward.
Oh, we did that a long time ago. Yeah,
Chris Lewis wants to do the Dark Crystal. I'd be down for some Dark Crystal. I remember
that was the one with all the puppets, right?
Puppets. Jim Henson. Yeah, I remember being a little bit uneasy with that. Like it scared me a little. They read
it. Did they had a sequel movie to
and I watched all of that too. Yeah, I watched it all.
TV series or something, right?
It was a TV. It was like a mini.
We'll come up with something. I don't know. I only have this many times. If I haven't seen it, and I usually, even if I've seen it like this, I've seen it like 3 or 4 times already, but I watched it again to have it fresh. So
yeah.
Kind of like hard, especially if it's a TV series that I've never seen. I can't binge that in a week.
That's true.
And I do have other things going on that I can't.
What? How dare you have a life?
I have work. I know.
No, you do not. You just sit.
I'm down in Rio doing a drag show. No, I'm just. I have a life.
Oh.
If anybody gets that, you get that. But no, I don't do drag shows. But anyway. All right, it is 8:00. Wrapping up. Last thoughts about this movie. I liked it. It's fun. It's worth watching.
Fun.
It holds up. I think it's still right.
It really holds up. I mean,
it's almost 30 years old, and it's watchable now. It's not cringy. Like, oh my god, these effects are terrible.
No, it's very watchable, and I think the reason why is its underlying themes. That's why I think it.
I think some of that is correct. Yeah, I think it was pretty laughable. Some of the stuff that they did get pretty close to the mark.
Sorry, they're talking about you doing drag now. You probably shouldn't.
You don't want to see that ever. Trust me. Trust me. All right, guys. On that note, I'm going to get out of here before it gets worse.
Woo,
So
kids.
we'll see you next week with something. In the meantime, live long and prosper. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks
And
for being here with us. We rely on you to keep us laughing.
We do. All right. Good night, guys.